Houston's mayor cited the surge in cases here as a reason to cancel the Texas Republican Party's in-person convention at GRB. It's happening right now virtually, but as Michelle Choi explains, the case took another turn early this morning.
Brandy, the battle between the Texas Republican Party and the city of Houston continues. Hours after a federal judge ruled that the state GOP can hold their in-person convention at the George R. Brown Convention Center, early this morning we've learned the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals has stayed that federal judge's ruling after the city and Houston first appealed it, once again putting a halt to the event. What that means is the GOP will not get access to the GRB. Mayor Sylvester Turner tweeting the convention doors will remain locked. This comes after a federal judge ruled the city's cancellation last week of the conference at Mayor Turner's request was a violation of the party's First Amendment rights. Yesterday's ruling was a win for the state Republican Executive Committee, who, after exhausting all legal options, held the gathering earlier this week virtually instead. The mayor says the Republican Party's push for an indoor in-person gathering is, quote, totally irresponsible during the middle of a pandemic. The Texas Republicans were planning on meeting to decide whether to hold the in-person event this weekend or next. But with this sudden turn of events, that plan will likely change again. Brandy?